Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about remote working with Office applications. We have 6 parts of today's session. We're going to look at file shares using Word and using Google Docs, using Excel and using Sheets, and then PowerPoint or slides, and then email stuff, and then finally summarize at the end. So let's look at the first one, file share. So we're going to look here at using Google Drive and OneDrive and how that is the gateway to working collaboratively remotely. So let's kick off with simultaneous editing in Google Docs. Now, as I'm going to show some demos here, this is going to be generally what I'm going to do for the next hour. So it's very, very, very demo heavy. And in fact, if you find something that you find really fun and exciting or something that's really cool, just write wow in the chat app. So if I show you something that you find really cool and really useful, just type the word wow, and let's see how people are responding to that. Also type your questions in there as you go along, and like TCS said, we will take the questions at the end. So simultaneous editing in Google Docs. This is what a lot of people are familiar with. So let me just quickly demo that aspect of it. Right, so here I am in Google Docs, and what I can do is I can click on the share button and I can share it with certain people who might need this application as well. Here's what not to do that a lot of people do. Don't click on Get Shareable Link to then send it to someone, because this has actually made it public. So now anyone in the world can copy this link, and I'm going to go to a private browser to demo it, and I can just go into that document and edit it. So do not do that, because that means you're effectively making it shareable by everyone. Instead, what you should do is I'm going to click here off, and then just type in people's names and addresses, and then they'll be able to edit it. So don't click here. If you want to just copy the link for people who have access to it, then click on copy link here. Don't click get shareable link. I know a lot of people do that by accident. And what that allows people to do is to be able to be in the same document at the same time, and to be able to write comments as well. So what you've probably been aware of is that people can sort of insert a comment there, and then they can write something and mention people and then assign them tasks as well. So this is something that a lot of people are familiar with, and that works in Google Slides, Google Docs, and Google Sheets as well. However, going back to my slides, what almost no one realizes is that the same thing can be done with Microsoft Office applications. So you have, for example, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, and if you're using the Office 365 version, which I'll talk a bit more about in a sec, then you're able to do exactly the same thing. So let me demo that. So I'm going to go into this Excel file, and as I can see here, move this down here, one of my colleagues, this person, is currently on the cell here editing. So I have now shared it with him, and he is now in the document at the same time as me. You can see it's just written hello. So he's able to do a lot of things. He's able to use Excel just as if I was using Excel. He's just written a sum function over here. Do you see that? So I'm able to edit it just exactly how I would choose to in a normal way. He's able to just use Excel in exactly the same way as me, and we're able to all be able to co-share and work with it there as well. So yeah, oh, what's he done now? That's interesting. So I can see where he is. He's over here. So here's what he's done. He's actually, these are some provinces in Cambodia. This is using one of the cool new Excel features, but you're actually able to detect something as geography and then add the population. So this is actually the population of this place. Capacity specialist staff, can you make sure to mute everyone, please? Yeah. So he's able to then do that and then do a calculation like sales per population as well. So let me show you how that looks. Just a bit of a sidetrack, but this is a very cool feature. So you can select some cells, and in the data tab, you have geography. And then it just looks up these places, these provinces, and I can click the plus button and choose that I want to get the population there. I can choose that I want to get the area. So yeah, that's just one of my coolest new features that has come to Excel recently. As of now, you have geography and stocks, but coming very soon, they've announced that you'll get 100 plus data types, including nutrition or planets or something. So you'll be able to say, you know, I have 2 apples. How much sugar is there? How many calories are there in that? So that's coming very soon. But for now, these ones are pretty exciting as well. So back to the co-working stuff that we can do. So just like we used to have with Excel, you're able to make comments. Now, everyone's been using comments forever, and it's something that looks like this. And this is what Excel has called comments for the last 20 years. However, this isn't really a comment. This is more of a note. To the extent that the newest version of Excel has actually renamed this feature to be a note. And that's why when I did this, I clicked on New Note. This is a note. This is not a comment. We are used to using comments in social media, and we're used to with them being able to reply to comments, mention people, etc. The same way that Google Sheets is able to do and has been able for a while. So I can click on a cell and I can choose new comment. So then the newer version of Excel, and I can say, hey, @Joe, what do you think? And then I can press enter there. And then he's able to write a reply, or even I could write a reply. And actually, Joe will then get an email notification that he's been mentioned in a comment, or I could even mention another person in my organization. And then the pop-up window asks me if I want to share it with him. So it says, in order to do that, I need to share it with him, so I can grant him access there. But I'm not going to do that right now. The other ways I can share is on the top right over here. And I can just share it, write the name and email of someone who I want to share it with, inside and outside my organization. And I have a comments pane up here, which has all of the different comments. So in this sheet, I have another new comment. It's just so much better to deal with than the old one. Joe's just replied, sales in Phnom Penh is too low. There we go. And I can see, okay, I'll put it in the PowerPoint next month. And then I can also, if I want to, click here and resolve thread once I've done the PowerPoint, for example, and then it grays it out. I can delete it or reopen it after that. So that is some really cool stuff that works across Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. And then some other stuff, if I do save this on the cloud to OneDrive or SharePoint, I can click here and I can actually just rename it from wherever it is and change the location. So I could rename it to remote working test, and I can change the location. So I can do this directly from within the file, which I actually find really, really useful. So I'll put it in here and I'll click on move there. You can also see the version history. So if I want to see how this looked before, I can click on version history and I can see what's been done, who's edited it, etc., etc. When I renamed it, I can go back in time and open a previous version. This is all stuff that you can do in Google as well. In fact, Google goes a little bit further that I'll show you there. But this is a good way to backtrack things if you've made mistakes or want to do something extra there. Cool. So it works the same in PowerPoint and Word. I won't show you those, but just I'll let you know that it's pretty much the same thing. So I went through how to rename and move comments and share documents. You can also, from a new document, you can directly store this on the cloud by just turning the autosave on. And then it asks you, where do you want to save it? And then you can do that easily there if you want to save it there directly. So there's a quick way to get into your OneDrive as needed. So I did say this is available in Microsoft Office 365. And what that means is that is the version that is updated every month. So historically, Excel and Word and PowerPoint used to release new versions every 3 years. So we had 2007, Excel 2010, Word 2013, 16, and 19. But they also now have this thing called Microsoft Office 365. And you can have Excel 365 or Word 365 that brings you new updates every month. And this is a version of that. You do need to pay a subscription for it. It's not very much. You can get it on 5 devices for around $10 a month, or organizationally, it's even cheaper. And in fact, for NGOs, there's a huge discount as well. So you can find out which version you have by clicking on File and Account here and seeing which version you have there. Here it says when it's updated. So I'm on something called the Office Insider route, which means I get the features before they're even released. And I'm in version 2004, which means April 2020. All right, so let's look at a little bit of other stuff. So introduce myself. My name is David Benaim. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm getting about 10,000 views per month of my videos. I make a lot of stuff about Excel, PowerPoint, but also remote working tools. Like I made a couple of Zoom videos, a Teams video, OneDrive, SharePoint, etc. So please follow me on YouTube if you are interested in this stuff. And if there's anything that you're saying wow to and you forget how to do it, it's on my YouTube. So go back to my YouTube and subscribe if you want more information. So I recently became a Microsoft Office MVP, which means I am very privileged to have this position that essentially puts me in the top 100 Excel users in the world. I get direct access to the Microsoft Office developers who to give them influence over where the products are going to go next. And I get loads of opportunities and speaker gigs around the world, but I guess more likely to be after coronavirus pandemic ends. I'm also a chartered accountant. I've done training in Microsoft Office applications for over 1,800 people, mostly with capacity specialists, but also outside Cambodia. And I have a company here, and we have consulted with over 120 organizations to do with IT and technical things. So with these kind of applications, you have Google Drive, the Microsoft is called OneDrive, SharePoint, but then there's also Dropbox and Box, which are some popular ones as well. And I'm going to focus on Google and Microsoft stuff mostly here, but all of them allow you to edit Microsoft Office documents to an extent within them and recover previous versions as well. What I will say is you guys are all signing in from your organizations. Don't go with the free version of these applications. The free versions are for your day-to-day life. Your work versions should be on the paid versions, because that allows you to share things inside your organization and have lots and lots of extra security. You also don't run out of space. For example, the Microsoft application gives you 1 terabyte of space. And if an employee leaves and it's saved on an internal organization, you'll be okay. But if they store things on their personal private account and they leave, then that's really when organizations run into a lot of trouble. So a little bit on the difference between OneDrive and SharePoint. I take it we have a lot of people who are Microsoft customers in this call. So you have this thing called OneDrive and SharePoint. So the difference, if you like to think about it, is that imagine you have your own private garden, and that's your OneDrive account. Whereas a public park, that's more of a SharePoint account. And access and come join the public park without needing to get keys to access your private garden. So talking about it in the work environment, imagine you have an open plan office. Then SharePoint is something that you can access in the open plan office with these kind of files that anyone can pick it up and look through it. It's automatically shared with everyone by default, whereas OneDrive is just these kind of closed office that maybe your boss has. Mr. A has his own OneDrive, Mr. B has his own one, and by default, they are private. However, Mr. B or Mrs. A can invite you into their office and thereby share a document with you. So one by one, they can choose to share a document or a folder with one person, but by default, it's not like SharePoint where they are automatically stored. So Google Drive has a similar sort of sync tool. It's got something called shared drives and something called personal drives. And just to show you in sort of File Explorer, you can sync these things. I highly recommend syncing them. And what that means, if they're synced, is that they are able to be accessible from your own machine, online and offline. You don't have to go through a browser to do it. So it's highly recommended. And nowadays they have this kind of new technology that allows you to only download the stuff that's currently in use. For example, this symbol means it is always in use. And this symbol means it's stored in the cloud, but I can still see the list there. If I want to access this, I can just kind of double click it to open it, and then it will download it like that. Not much there, but if I get rid of it, close it, I can see that this symbol is now showing, which means it's recently been downloaded and it's now available. And this one is always keep on device, free up space, and then it can go to the other icon there. So you can sync this directly from online. You would need to download Drive, Google's file stream service if you're in a corporate account, but those will let you do this feature as well. So if you're not already doing that, highly recommend you do. If you want some advice on it, please let us know how to get on with that. All right, let's go into section number 2, which is Word and Documents. So here you have Google Docs or Microsoft Word, and I'm going to cover a few of these features. So track changes, including some advanced things, how to do restrict editing, transform in Word, and do a follow-up in Word. So let me go into a Microsoft Word thing here. So track changes is in the review tab. I'm going to switch this on, and then I'm going to show you what I don't like about the defaults. So if I select some text and I go on the Home tab to clear formatting, that's right, a lot of people didn't know that was there. They're really useful. If I click that, look how many changes I have just by clicking that one thing. And for me, I don't really care about these changes. I just care about words that are deleted and words that are added in, like that. So I'm going to go through how to manage this, because for me and most people I know, this is quite an annoying thing that's kind of easy to fix if you know the tools there. So if you go to the Review tab, if you go to Show, you can untick the word formatting, and that basically only shows you the ones that are not formatting. But I go a step further, and I untick the non-formatting ones like this. And then I go to accept all changes shown. And what that does is it just takes all of those, and then I can go back to my show markup, and now I only have the useful stuff. Do you like that? Right? Wow, if you like that, and you're going to find that useful. Another one that is kind of the way I like to see it is show markup. I like to see it show revisions in balloons. So the default one is not that one. And then it just sort of shows it like this. And this makes it very difficult for me to actually review it because I've got my deleted and my added in text in the same place. So My recommendation is go to balloons and show revision in balloons. It's much easier to understand there. You can also, if you want to make sure that when you send this out, someone always does restrict editing, someone always does track changes, click on the restrict editing tab and then click on this box, allow only this type of editing track changes. You can also use this if you use styles, which I do highly recommend as well, but I'm not going to cover in this video. Yes, start enforcing protection. Optionally, you can add a password, press OK. And then what you'll notice is that the person can't unclick this because it's permanently selected there. And if you can email this to someone, it will have the same thing. And over here, they can't change the formatting. They can only choose these styles as well. You want to get rid of it, go to review and click restrict editing and stop protection. So this is another really useful feature. I actually often do this instead of sending a PDF because PDFs work really strangely with links, hyperlinks. And so I often use the restrict editing in order to send like even a final version of a document there. Google, it's a bit easier. So with Google, it does track changes a bit differently instead of the normal editing, but you can also choose suggesting, and then everything you type or change becomes tracked like that. Now, the Google version doesn't allow the cool stuff that I showed you with the formatting, at least as far as I'm aware, but it allows you to do it that way. Actually, say that you want to share it so that they can view it and they or can comment, but cannot edit as well at the same time. Cool. All right, so let's keep going. I realize I'm doing a lot of demos, but again, you can watch the video later on to recap yourself. Let's go into Excel. God, do you like that smooth transition? This is using some of the newer PowerPoint features that I love. It just gives you a whole new PowerPoint experience. Forget about the fact that they're features. This just redefines what a PowerPoint experience is. So I'm using two here. One is called the Zoom feature, which allows me to have this clickable slide menu. So if I want to go directly here, I can click there and get that nice animation. If I want to go directly here, I can click there. And then the other feature is this morph animation. It allows you to go and have this smooth transition from one slide to the other one. Do you like those features? I'll briefly show you in PowerPoint where they are, even though that's not what I'm going to demo here. But in the Insert tab, you have this thing called Zoom. And in the Transitions tab, you have this thing called Morph. Normally, I hate transitions, but Morph is just amazing. If you want further advice on how to use it, then I have a couple of videos where I talk about that I will link to as well in a follow-up after this. So let's go into Excel. So I'm going to show edit history, filter view, protect sheet, and conditional formatting. Now I'm going to show this predominantly from Google Sheets because it does it better. But I'm going to explain along the way what's available in what and what isn't. So over here, if I want to see the edit history of a cell, I can click on a cell. I can right-click and choose Show Edit History. This is amazing. It got introduced about 6 months ago. I can click on it, and I can see that I replaced this with this, change the name. And if I go back, I can see that I added it there. And I can just keep going until the end of the edits. And it says that I did it, but of course, other people could have done it, and it would have had their names as well there. And I can just see who had edited it, when exactly, and how it is. Do you like that? Right, wow, in the meeting chat. Okay, so some other things that we can do in Google. So people that use Google Sheets a lot tend to get annoyed by this. So if you have a file, and I'm going to take off my filter view, and I'm going to say filter here for some certain amounts there. Then if I go to my other tab, then the filter comes through. So imagine this other tab is someone else. And that can be really annoying if you're trying to actively work on it and they're changing the filter. So you do have this feature called a filter view. So if I get rid of the filter, then this person can then go to here and choose the weekends filter view. And now this other person does not see that filter view. They only see whatever they want to see. So they can then filter it to something else. So how do you add a filter view? So you can either do it the normal way and then press a couple of things here. And then you can click on the drop down next to filter and say save as filter view and give it a name. So custom filter. And then go back. If the other person goes here, they can then get rid of the filter. So select all and press OK. And then here, they can also see the ones that I added, like that one there. So that's how you can add them. You can also just create a new filter view and then just manually type in the range and the filter and go about your filter as well. So both of those are ways that you can do it. So that's a cool feature to do with Google's filter views that a lot of people don't know. That was Google's show edit history there. You can also do some other things. So if you want to protect your sheets, Excel does this as well, but I find Google does it better. If you can select some cells and you can go to the data tab and choose protected sheets and ranges. So I could say that this is now going to be protected, set permissions, and I can say I want to choose who edits it and then add the email addresses of the people who have access to it. And I can choose to either show a warning when they edit it or restrict who can edit it and then they can't even touch it. Now I do say it's better, but it still causes some issues with things like filters and other features. So I tend to not use this as much. But yeah, it is a way if you want that feature and you kind of want people to just sort of edit things and not necessarily view, filter or do other complex things, that is a way that you could do it. Another feature that I really love is this thing called conditional formatting. So let's say I want to highlight to Amanda which tasks are hers. So I can select some cells and I can go to format and choose conditional formatting. By the way, alternating colors is fantastic as well. Conditional formatting, I already have David is in red. I can add another rule and I can say that if text contains Amanda, then I want it to be yellow, for example, there. Or I can just choose any color that I want here. I can press done, and then it's now showing it like that. So if I add something else, David to look at, it will automatically then highlight it. Or if this is now, say, completed, then the color goes away because it's only highlighting text that contains a certain data point. Just to show you a little bit in Excel, the equivalence. So I can, if I want to go to another sheet here, and I can say, select some cells here, go to the Home tab, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and text that contains. And I want to say James is in yellow. And there you go. That's how you do it there. Now, I hate that this is so hidden away. It's 3 clicks deep. I want Microsoft to put this feature front and center. I want them to put it here because once you know conditional formatting and this other feature called insert table, you will never need to use these 2 things again. And almost everyone uses these on a daily basis in Excel. Why highlight things manually when it could be linked to data or when it could be automated? That's why it's really useful there. Okay, so there is a data protection thing here as well in the review tab. You can protect sheet or protect workbook. I really don't like this personally. I think the Google does a better job, but I also prefer another method that I describe in one of my videos that I'm not going to demo here. So it's a bit more advanced. But if you're interested in that, then let me know. All right, let's go back into our PowerPoint slides. So of course we go back into our clickable slide menu. Isn't it useful? It just reminds people where they are at every point in it. It's like an agenda that keeps reminding them of things. So PowerPoint and then Outlook. So let's go into PowerPoint. Love that smooth transition experience. So here are some really, really cool features that I'm about to show you. So let me go into this thing that just got recently introduced in PowerPoint. I'm going to click always use subtitles. And now I'm going to speak in French and respond in English. I don't know if there's any French speakers in the audience today, but I'm going to show you what that's like. I'm going to go into slideshow. Tous à cette présentation. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de... you know, actually, it's not working because my microphone is connected to Zoom. Oh, no, sorry. Ignore that. Bienvenue à cette présentation. Aujourd'hui, on va vous montrer comment travailler avec Excel et Word quand on travaille de la maison ou quand on travaille avec beaucoup d'autres personnes. Tu vois ce que ça fait? C'est très cool, non? Vous devrez dire « wow » si vous aimez cette fonctionnalité. So, unfortunately for now, it's not working with Kamai yet. And in subtitle settings, you have these languages for spoken language. So about 12 to 16 there. And then subtitle languages can be a lot more. There's 60 here. As I said, unfortunately, it's not in Kamai yet. You could also, if you want to, just say spoken in English and subtitled in English. That's cool as well. That works as well. I'll show you the Google Slides does the subtitles as well in a second. But one of the things that I love doing is, I said I make a lot of YouTube videos. I do that using the record screen function in PowerPoint. So built into PowerPoint from 2013, you can click there, select a part of your region or the full screen, click audio, click record, and then it gives you this countdown. And now it's recording everything, my mouse movements, certain things that I click. So if I make something a table, it's done all those formatting, and I can even go to another browser, another tab, and do that as well. When I'm done, I can press stop, and then I have my video. And now it's recording everything, my mouse movements. So you don't need a third-party software to do this. And I think that this is going to be more and more important in the future as we get to a concept that I like to call Netflix for work, which is where we have on-demand ways that you can look at a video of a meeting or the discussion of a document, et cetera, et cetera. So I find this really, really super useful. Within PowerPoint, you have a few basic editing features. But if you want to extract this, you can right-click it, press Save Media As, and then just save it as a normal MP4 file wherever you like. Cool. So that's it there. Let me show you a couple of things on the cloud here. So if I go to Google Docs, I can then go to here and go to slideshow, present. I also do have some English. Oh, okay, that is a little bit strange, but I find it's a little bit smoother, and it even records it not badly when I'm speaking really, really fast like this, and you can't understand what I'm saying verbally, but you can read it on the screen. Isn't that pretty impressive how fast I'm speaking and it's still picking it up? So yeah, there you go. The evolution of technology. A couple of other things. So I'm also going to show you some stuff on PowerPoint. So Excel and PowerPoint do have an online version. I don't tend to go through those very much, but I just want to show you that Excel Online does allow the same filter view, a little bit like what I was showing you before. And if you have, this is available for free actually. If you share documents like this, you can get the filter views called sheet views in Excel, and it works a bit differently, but it's pretty straightforward. So you can also go to PowerPoint Online, and then there's some other kind of cool features there. So let's go into this one here. Now, PowerPoint Online, you can edit it if you like, but I'm just going to show you a couple of things that are not available in other applications in PowerPoint Desktop because they are quite cool. So yeah, I'm just going to insert a new slide and maybe just make this kind of a different color so we can see that we've moved on from different slides. No, not that one here. I don't really like the editing features, to be honest, but I do like a couple of the things here. So you can use subtitles directly from here, exactly the same as I just showed you online. So this is available for free as long as you save on OneDrive. It could be your personal OneDrive or your company's. You can also choose Rehearse with Coach. This is the feature I wanted to show you. So let's say you're used to practicing stuff with your coworker and they're not around right now. So I'm going to press Start Rehearsing, and it's saying Show Real-Time Feedback. So I could say, okay, so what do you guys think about this feature? Do you see that? It's telling me I shouldn't use you guys, and it's telling me I shouldn't basically understand what I'm saying. Then you should just sort of consider what to do with it. It gives me other kind of fillers as well, using basically, and it has other transitions. You can't really pick up what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know where I'm going. And as I go to the new slide, I can see that sometimes. There we go. Try speaking a bit slower. It also does things like tell you off if you're reading the slides, which is really cool as well. And when you're done, you can press Escape, and you get this report. Now, it uses artificial intelligence to do all this cool stuff, which is really awesome. It says I avoided reading the slides out loud. These are the sensitive phrases that I used, how long I took, what my pace was throughout, and what my pitch was, whether I was monotone or varying things like that as well. Right, well, if you like that feature, I use it all the time, and it keeps evolving. This feature just got added about a month ago, and I love PowerPoint Presentation Coach. So that for now is only on the web version, but it's available for free. Anyone can try that as well. Another thing that is coming to PowerPoint, and this is great, is something called live presentations. You'll be able to basically share a presentation, and then people can sort of scan a QR code and get it showing on their mobile phones. Then they can select which language subtitles they want to see the output in. And they can also react to different slides as they go along. They can also go back some slides if they miss some important points. So it just is a really cool feature that is coming soon. I was hoping I'd get it in my tenant by the time I present this, but unfortunately I don't yet but I'm really excited for this feature. This is where the future is. People are going to be able to log in on their mobile phones or iPads or even on a computer and just be able to get it customized for their own experience. The language, the subtitles, the reactions, go back if they missed a slide. It's going to be fantastic. All right, so I've shown you those features. Just one more, which is Outlook, and then we'll do a wrap up. Let me switch off subtitles. Look here. So I'm saying Outlook. I'm not actually going to go into Gmail because if you have Google apps, you can still use Outlook and sync them. And actually, Outlook for me has a lot of features like these that I'm about to show you that I really love. inline replies, find related, resend, a new window from mail, and a couple for video. So let's say I want to reply to this. Has anyone ever written something like see replies in blue below or in red below or something and then manually change the color? Yeah, it happens all the time. Here's what you can do, and it's a very, very easy feature to set up once you've done it. But you can here type in, hey, do you see what it's done? It's actually prefixing it with my name. Isn't that useful? I'm going to show you how to do that. If you go into just a new email, go to signature and signatures. It's not even got anything to do with signatures, but it's in here. Then go to personal stationery. Then say mark my comments with, put a tick there. And then I like to do this feature that says pick a new color when replying or forwarding. That will choose to go first black, then blue, as we're used to. But then also add in new colors, like the one after that is pink and green. And it just always makes it a new color. And I really like that feature. You can change your name here if you want, your initials or whatever. But that is all you need to do. Just do this one time and it will do it every single time you have this feature. So yeah, super useful. If you like that, say that you like it. Now, one more other thing about that is, let's say, for example, you don't happen. So I don't want that to now be a thing where I press enter and I want to write a new comment, but that shouldn't be there. I can press Control Z to undo, and then it just goes into my normal editing mode here. So yeah, undo will just get rid of what it shows you before, but allow you to still edit there. All right, so that's one. Another one is you can right click on an email and choose find related, messages in this conversation or messages from sender. And then it will just show you all of the messages in that conversation there. And you can scroll through them. I use this all the time. A really cool search trick there. Another thing is, let's say that you have emailed something to someone and you just want to send the same email to someone else. Like I emailed this to myself and I want to forward this to someone else. So a lot of the time people would click the forward button, but then you have to, delete this messy stuff, delete this stuff, and then it still sort of changes your color a lot of the time to blue. So that's not really what I want to show. I'm going to show you this other thing, which this should be everywhere because so many people would need this all the time. If you go into message you have here and you can choose resend this message. That just gives you the complete original message, doesn't say FW or anything there, and allows you to type in anything new. All you have to do is change the recipient over here. Do you like that one? Write wow in the comments box. By the way, this is the email that happened after I shared a document with my colleague Joe. So it tells me that it's shared and I can open it directly from here. And Joe would also get something that's similar, allowing him to open the file there. Similar to what you might expect in Google. Another one is new window. So let's say I want to see my email and my calendar at the same time. You can right click on something and choose open a new window. And then you can have them both open at the same time. I really like that. And then you can make edits in both of them and just see your email and your calendar at the same time. Also works with another email folder. So I can choose here, open a new window as well. All right, and now a couple of things on calendar. So auto color code things. So as you can see, I have different colors for my sessions. And if I sort of click here and make this a deadline, doesn't matter what else I type. I can type in whatever there, save and close, and then it goes in red. If I do something that is a training on X, if I write in the word training correctly, I could have also written something in location. It makes that this color. And then I get my colors based on what's going on here. How do I do that? I'll show you very, very quickly. I showed you conditional formatting in Excel. It's also available in Outlook. So if you go to View and then View Settings, choose Conditional Formatting. I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to say this is new, and choose a color. Let's choose this one, condition. So say the word new is going to be in frequently used text fields. Press OK, OK, and OK. And now whenever I do this and I write new thing, save and close, it shows me in that color. So again, it's a one-off setting change that I highly recommend you do. Whilst we're here on one-off setting changes, I hate the default view that's like this because you can't see your full day in one glance. You have to constantly glance up and down. Go to view, time scale, 60 minutes. Do that one time and thank me later on. Also, you can, for example, if you want an online meeting and you use Microsoft Teams, which is like Zoom, but within Microsoft, you can click on New Teams Meeting here, and then it will send them directly with a link so people can join. And anyone can join this, not just people in your organization, through this web browser link. Super easy in Microsoft Teams. Next we have, let's say I want to schedule something with my colleague. So I can go to a new meeting and I have this thing called Scheduling Assistant. It has moved in older versions, it was somewhere else, but this has existed forever. Click there and let's say I want to schedule with Joe or with Craig. Is loading up. Trying to contact the server. Well, normally it would, yeah, it's not working right now. Oh, every other demo worked, so. But normally what it would do is just show me the blocks where they're busy, and therefore I can just find something where we're all free at the same time and allow us to do this. Now this should work without you asking for permissions. Refresh availability hasn't worked there. So it just works directly with anyone internally, but just not right now. So I really like that if you want to very quickly find a time where everyone's free to meet there. Don't save changes there. And finally, another quick one. I have in every one of my email signatures a thing that says, see my live calendar here. So this is a link that opens up and anyone can access this. It just shows every single person when I'm busy. So you can, so essentially they don't see what I'm doing. They just see when I'm busy. So if they need to schedule or try and plan a meeting with me, I can just have this link in my email signature and they can just always see this. So you need to do this from Outlook on the web, and I won't demo it right now, but if you Google publish a calendar on Outlook, then it's pretty straightforward how to follow the steps. All right, so that was meetings and then calendar, publish, new Teams meeting, scheduling assistant, and color coding using conditional formatting. So we've come to the end. I'm just going to do the summary there. So we've covered file sharing and how to get people to edit at the same time, also in Excel, PowerPoint. Then we looked at Word features, Excel and Sheets features, PowerPoint and Slides features, and then Outlook. And finally, let's do a summary. So at the Capacity Specialists, we are right now offering remote training experiences for free for 1 hour. And this is going to be a hands-on learning experience in Excel or PowerPoint, or also we're going to do it with tips for remote working. So we're going to customize it for your organization based on the software that you have. And if you don't have the newest Excel, we'll do it with older Excel versions. Or if you use Google, we'll adapt it to using Google. But this is ways that people can get on their computers and we can demo that actually training from afar, even when people are doing things hands-on, is pretty good and it works pretty well. I've actually done this already with really good feedback. So if you are interested in that, please contact us at Capacity Specialists. And finally, we do offer training courses. So we have our Excel one, which is really popular. We've run that in Khmer and in English a lot of times. And then we have PowerPoint and presentation skills being the main two ones. So contact Capacity Specialists if you're interested in that. We have courses that are from 1 to 3 days, and we build them mainly to improve efficiency. They are available and useful for anyone that uses Excel more than, I say, 3 hours a week and does presenting more than once a month. Because if you're using them, then you're going to pick up some massive speed up tricks. Even if you are kind of intermediate to advanced, I think that you'll learn some things. And finally, this is another link to my YouTube channel. So if you look for David Benaim on YouTube, then I have over 100 videos just to show you what that looks like here. I'm actually going up massively in my views. So at the beginning of a month ago, I was getting about 200 a day, but now I'm getting about like 300 a day, 360 a day, and 400. Generally, the weekends it goes down, so it's probably going to go back up again today. I have playlists where I talk about remote working tools, Power Query, Power BI, presentations that I've done, and PowerPoint and Excel how-to videos. If you want to see what's coming soon to these apps, then I made this recently. It's a really exciting way to see everything that's coming, including live presentations on PowerPoint, the nutrition stuff in Excel, some other things. I also have the presentation coach that I showed you, and some new features. This is where I talk about Morph and Zoom as well. Great. So that's a lot of demos. And I just want to leave you off with a final thought, which is we are going through some terrible times with COVID, and hopefully we'll get back to a situation where things are not what they are today. However, a lot of things are going to go back to normal, but I genuinely think that some things will not go back. And I think that remote working is something that we are going to have permanently increased. I'm not saying that people are not going to work from the office or have live meetings, because that is going to happen. But remote working, to some extent, to an extent more than we've had it in the past, I think is a permanent change. So I think investing in learning these tools is so, so, so important for the future of your career. And how to do that with the apps you use every day is really important as well. All right, so that's the end of my talk. And thank you very much for listening. Hope you found that useful. I'm going to go through some of the questions here that I've had. So someone said, do we have the same feature in normal Excel, but there isn't really context, so I'm not really able to answer that. And then, okay, I've had people saying that they like the subtitles and the translation feature, and they like the resend feature as well. So yeah, I haven't seen any other questions. Let me just go through the chat myself here. So yeah, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. Sorry, I couldn't maintain the chat box as I was working, but it's really, really difficult to do that. If there's anything you want me to demo again, I can do that as well. Yeah, do we have the same feature in normal Excel? I'm not really sure what that was referring to. Okay. All right, so there's no questions or comments then? Quite a few wows there. Yeah, again, if you have questions, please type them in the chat box now. Otherwise, there will be a video of this recording. Again, the importance of video and screen recording. I can't stress how important this is going to be in future, not just in training, but for everyone in an office job. So yeah, we will send you the video link afterwards as well. And as I said before, I'll put a link to my YouTube channel in the chat if people want to check it out there. So that's a link to the YouTube channel I have here as well. Cool. All right. So yeah, don't leave quite yet. So please stick around. We have some feedback for you to complete before the end of this webinar. So please do that.